I plagiarized my entire dissertation and I got caught. It just felt too big, too nebulous. I had no idea where to start. I kept putting it off and putting it off again, with no idea of what to do. I could have asked for help, but I didn't. How pathetic, I thought. Every other student can manage to write one, but you need help. Just freaking put your head down and do it. But I didn't. With 24 hours to go, I had nothing. So I found a dissertation on Google, and I went through and changed it enough that I thought I could get away with it. I didn't. I have a hearing in a few days, and I can't see any likely outcome other than being kicked out with no degree. I haven't told anybody, besides a nice woman on the phone from Samaritans, because I didn't know who else to call. She didn't seem to know what to say though, and I can't blame her. What is there to say? You freaking idiot? How did you not ask anyone for help at any stage? Why are you the only person who can't freaking write their own dissertation? I'm so ashamed. So ashamed. I can't tell my friends. Students have fun at university, but I feel as though there's an unspoken contract that everyone can do so, because they are all working hard. I have broken my contract, and I cannot admit it. This shame pales in comparison to the shame I feel regarding my parents. I am dreading telling them more than anything. They have been nothing but supportive my entire life. They are wonderful people. They have given me so much help, sacrificed so much for me to get a good education, and I have spat in their faces. I am ashamed to be their son. On the subject of the woman from Samaritans, those volunteers are trained to listen, rather than giving unsolicited advice. I'm sure you didn't leave her speechless. She was simply letting you blow off some steam on your own, which can be much more helpful than listening to the advice of a stranger on the phone when you're in a particularly emotional mood. What is Samaritans? A charity we have in the UK, not sure if it's international, where you call a number and volunteers listen. They put the number up at train stations and bridges where people usually try to kill themselves. A lot of their advertising is aimed at middle-aged men with the focus on not having to go put up a facade of being okay when you're under a lot of pressure. I mean, yes, you shouldn't have done this, of course. But what was your supervisor? Normally you agree on the topic with them, devise a plan of action and go through multiple drafts. I totally understand how a dissertation can feel like the entire weight of the world and then some. Currently writing my thesis. It is a very lonely process, and just the thought of how much you have to do alone can be so debilitating. I completely understand, and I can only imagine the desperation you must have felt to go through with this. Whatever the consequence, this does not and will not determine your life. Everything will be okay. Sure, it may be tough for a while, but it will get better and you will get through this. The best thing you can do now is own up to your mistake. Explain how you were feeling at the time and try and be as open and honest as you can be. Feel free to DM me if you need to talk. This is my thought. How the hell did they get down to the deadline without anyone realizing they were struggling? I've had to complete annotated bibliographies for simple term papers and realized early on the main point of those was for the professor to see you'd actually started your research and were going in the right direction to completing it. Some faculty really dropped the ball here. Hey, I can't speak for your friends, but I am a mom, so here is my mom perspective. Since I sense your parents and I share the same thinking, I wouldn't want my son carrying this weight on his own. Will I be disappointed? Sure, I will, but I carried my boy under my heart for 9 months, and if I were to know he carried the secret on his own for so long, I would be heartsick. I would want to support him, and listen to him and just hug him the frick so tight. Because people make mistakes, but these are the ones you learn from. I would want to make him tea and carefully discuss a way forward and how to manage the outcome, and perhaps getting him therapy, because I sense more than just the feeling of being helpless. But most of all, I will just make sure my home is a safe space for him to deal with all of this. My love for him wouldn't change. My support wouldn't change, and I would keep sacrificing for my kid. I would not see it as a spit to the face. I would be stern and honest in my disappointment, but never ever would my love and support as a parent waver. Talk to your parents. You are going to need them more than ever. Talk to your counselor. Talk to your hearing committee. Best of luck. First and foremost, you sound absolutely amazing. I'm a 23 American female, and I have zero doubt that my mother would feel the same. However, I'd still be afraid to admit such transgressions. Being a child from such a loving, forgiving, perfect family sometimes makes mistakes harder to admit, because inside of it all, you feel like you have no good reason to commit your crimes. You were absolutely right to suggest therapy to help. I can say at least that it's helped me. Might not compare to what my friend here is going through, but this is the support you need to get ahead and learn from your mistakes. I told my folks I failed first-year university, After a few years of rebuilding and keeping my family in the loop with all the speed bumps along the way, I graduated with the degree, same one as where I started. It might have taken me a little longer than my peers, but I got it done. That said, pull the band-aid off. It'll suck. They'll give their colorful opinions and such. After the dust settles, you'll all be able to rebuild and move forward. A few things are true. Yes, it was wrong to plagiarize your paper. Yes, you will face consequences for your actions. It will be a difficult conversation to have with your parents. People have come back from worse. You are still worthy of love, compassion, and growth. This mistake doesn't define you. You aren't the first person to have plagiarized a paper, and you won't be the last. Let yourself feel how you're feeling. Sit in the shame, regret, sadness, anger, whatever comes up. When you're feeling ready, unpack the feelings and walk yourself through the situation step by step. Try to figure out what led you to making this mistake. What factors were in place that made the circumstances challenging for you? It's a therapy strategy called a chain analysis. This may help you find some relief from your shame. You are human. You will grow from this. Be well. Up. You know what you should say during your hearing? Exactly this. Even if you get kicked out, at least you told the truth. When I was in college, I sat on these review boards for a few years. There were 3 options for people who were found guilty of cheating. 1. Failed either the assignment or the class. 2. Suspension from school for 1-3 semesters. Or 3. Expulsion from the school. The accused had someone to represent them who knew the system and made sure they got appropriate due process. I assume you have someone like this assigned to you. If you don't ask for one ASAP, IMHO, your best hope is to say openly what you did. Say you are sorry, and ask for another chance. Be honest and sincere, and truly repentant. You don't want to waste the time, energy, and money investments you and others have made in your dissertation and research. Consider asking for a suspension, probably for a year, and in that time offer to get help, both academic and frankly, emotional, mental. Find some way to convince them that you have learned your lesson and you will come back a better person. Work through this approach with your due process representative. If you can get your project advisor on your side and be willing to take you back, that's a huge win. If the board doesn't expel you, just suspends you, take that as a win. And at least you can come back and try again or go somewhere else. Expulsion is tough to explain or come back from. Good luck. Everything is going to be okay. I promise you it will be okay. This is what you do. You go in, and you tell them what you did and answer the questions. Be honest now. Be humble. Accept it. Don't lie. Hold your head up. Own your mistakes and learn from them. Remember, everything's going to be okay. Also, in hearings like that, showing that you feel guilty and ashamed tend to make them understand you and that it's something you feel bad about. Just be upfront with them. They're not going to forgive them though. Universities don't play around with cheating or plagiarism, because it could jeopardize their credibility. Face the consequences. Try again. Do it right next time. If it's a PhD program, I probably won't get a second chance. Unlikely that UP isn't a PhD program. Can't imagine it's possible to make up a PhD dissertation in under 24 hours. Mistakes are made by everyone. Some big, some small. I know that won't be as helpful to hear as I wish it to be, but just know that owning up and facing the consequences is the most honorable thing you can do. I am proud of you for not trying to place blame where it doesn't belong. I teach and I am a student. I am a friend of someone who cheated and felt much the same way you did. She confessed to me, and I forgave her on behalf of the universe, so I will give you a measure of what I gave her. You have done something wrong. If you were not caught, you would receive your degree, PhD I assumed, under false premises. It would be a large deceit that would corrupt you and haunt you forever, and you would never be able to fully take advantage of the work you actually did do, because writing is an inherent and critically important part of the process. And if it is a PhD, it is not likely you would ever be able to make up for that lack. So you are incredibly lucky to be caught now so you can move forward wholly and completely. You are not evil nor terrible. You got caught up in a web of stress, anxiety, and a type of immaturity. I say this because I also went through this, and it was only with time, experience and maturity that I found ways to escape the web. You did wrong. You made an error of judgment. You have the opportunity to never do that again. You can go another step to make restitution to yourself and to the institution. The most important one now is to make restitution to yourself so you can forgive yourself. And you should forgive yourself. You deserve your own grace. If it matters, I forgive you. You deserve my grace. and whatever puny little forgiveness a Redditor can offer. So what is your restitution? May I suggest cognitive behavioral therapy? This will help immensely with moving forward and untangling that web you got caught in. It is not easy. It is hard work, but the payoff can be tremendous. We all F at and $sign up. We all cut corners or act in ways not consistent with our values, and it sucks. But we are all capable of growth and becoming more than what we are now. Good luck, my friend. Oh no. Up? You couldn't get an extension? Nothing. I'm so sorry it got to this point. Frick. Did they not make you work on it incrementally? I've never heard of just being able to turn a dissertation in. Up can't be talking about for a PhD. My wife is getting hers and she has a committee of PhDs she reports to as she works through the dissertation.